What's up, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the broader markets. I'm going to talk about what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward and what you should be watching for as time goes on. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below or use my QR code right here to sign up. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 of free Nvidia stock. If you deposit $2,000, you're going to get $50 worth of Nvidia. Deposits $10,000 to get $300 worth of the stock, or deposits $50,000 to get $1,000 of free Nvidia. You're also going to qualify for a 3.6% APY base rate plus a 4.5% APY extra for 3 months, making it a total of an 8.1% APY. The offer ends very soon in just 6 days from now, so please check it out before they run out. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with NIO. So looking at NIO, we're on a big downtrend right now. Instead of getting back above that 5.32 area, we're still consolidating. We need to get back above at least 5.08. If we don't, there's going to be a risk of us dipping to fill this gap, and NIO may continue to downtrend for 4.7. So we're on a downtrend. We're going to see if NIO could bounce. If it doesn't, there's going to be another downside risk move to fill that gap. Looking at our data right now, Freedom Capital Markets has once again upgraded NIO from a hold to a buy rating. And we're also seeing the price-risk ratio trying to bounce a little bit. When it comes to the price comparison between NIO and SPY, we can see that NIO is underperforming as well. And when it comes to historical data, we're only green about 54% of the time on Wednesdays. So it's kind of like a flat day. NIO is also getting some downgrades, unfortunately. There's been a different narrative shift, at least involving NIO, which is part of why the share price is underperforming. There's been a lot of downgrades and also some upgrades that came out. Citi, for example, maintains a buy rating, but other analysts right here have changed their views. Maguire, however, is more cautious. They downgraded NIO to neutral from outperform, and they have a target of $5.30. That's kind of like what their target is. It used to be $6.70. They think that there's a weak guidance for Q4. They used to have 150,000 as their guidance. That was the outlook. Now it went down to about 122,000. Not the best of news as well. Bank of America also trimmed their target to $6.70. So we're seeing some like mixed views with more downgrades. That's part of why NIO is underperforming. Now, tomorrow is going to be a big day for the whole market. It's going to be Wednesday, December 10th. The importance about this is that we essentially have our employment data coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then at 2 o'clock p.m., we have the Fed interest rate decision coming out. So we're expecting a 25 basis point cut. We have the FOMC economic projections report as well for the first year, second year, and third years out, followed by the Fed press conference at 2:30 p.m. That's also going to be another big factor. This could cause a lot of volatility, so get ready, especially when we have the press conference with the big guy Jerome Powell giving a speech. His tonality is going to be very important. It's the last FOMC meeting of the year, and we're going to see if he pumps the markets or not, so be ready for that. On top of this, we also have the target rate probabilities giving us an 87% chance of getting a cut by the Fed. And the Fed is continuing to buy back treasuries. We're continuing to see this, which is once again kind of shifting things. So that's going to be very important as well. Besides that, there's not really much coming out. We just had GameStop announcing earnings, and later on we have Oracle tomorrow alongside Costco. So it's going to be a big day with FOMC. But heading into it, NIO is looking kind of weak unless we get back above 5.32. We're favoring consolidation and a dip back down to fill this gap to 4.78, unfortunately. SPY looks like it's forming a head and shoulders like pattern. It's kind of like topping, and there's going to be a risk of us kind of consolidating unless we break 690 through FOMC to be bullish. If we can't do that, I anticipate consolidation and a risk of us dipping to 675 as the most likely possibility. When you look at the daily time frame, we're showing weakness, and there is this gap to fill, so I anticipate some downside. The QQQ had a green close. However, we have to be very careful because despite it, when you look at the 4 hour, we're still forming sort of like a head and shoulders. Unless we take out 628, we're going to be favoring consolidation and dip back down towards 623 and 618. The IWM has kind of like a triple top here. We could be dipping back down to 250. We'll see if this holds. If not, we could be dipping to 247. ES is also rejecting. We're going to see if 68.42 holds. If not, I could see us basically dip towards the lower 6,800s. NQ is also rejecting. We have kind of like a head and shoulders unless we hold above 25,676. If we don't, 25,500 is next. Bitcoin pumped about 94,000. We need to break this. If we don't, we could be dipping back down to 91,000. On Tesla, we pumped towards this gap over here and we rejected so far. I do think Tesla's bullish overall, but we're going to see if we come down first with FOMC before we get another buying opportunity. So we might be retesting 443, if not 435, if this is a lower high rejection. And there is a risk of Tesla trading depending on what Jerome Powell says. Nvidia pumped and dumped. We're going to see if 183 holds, if not 180 is very possible. Aapl has a left shoulder, head and right shoulder. Unless we hold above 279, we may continue to fall back down towards 275. On Palantir, we're consolidating right here. We could be dipping back down to 178, and we're going to see if this holds. If not, we're looking for 175. On AMD, we have a double top rejection right here. We have 218 as our main support. If that fails us, we could be dipping back down towards 215. Coinbase has a double top here. We're going to be dipping back down to 271 to 270. We'll see if support holds. On Amazon, we have a left shoulder, head and right shoulder also making lower highs. We could retest 229. We'll see if we continue to fall. Meta is dipping right here. We could be dipping to 646. On Google, we have this resistance right here at 320 to 321. We'll see if you reject. But overall, we're making lower highs. If we lose 313, we could be dipping to fill this gap down here. But overall, we might bounce first before we end up turning down. Microsoft has a double bottom right here. As long as we don't lose 487, we could continue to fall if we get a rejection. I do think we're going to likely continue to push for 493. And we're going to see if that breaks. This does look a little bit more bullish to me. As long as we don't lose 487, I think Microsoft is looking a bit more bullish. And the VIX does also look bullish, however, and this is a bearish signal for the markets because this may continue to push. This is telling us that the market has some downside risk. And we're going to see if NIO also falls for 4.75. So that being said, guys, I want to be very cautious heading into tomorrow, but just know that there is some downside risk for the markets looking at the current setups and with Jerome Powell's speech coming up. We'll see how it goes with FOMC for tomorrow, but I do want to give you guys that warning of downside from what I'm seeing. Thank you for listening. Tomorrow's going to be a very important day. We start off with very quiet data, but then it gets very serious once we have FOMC with the big guy Jerome Powell's speech. Until then, I wish you all the best and peace out.